I'm 88 years old, and for most of my life I confused financial growth with personal growth. It's a quiet mistake, one you don't notice until the numbers on your bank statement are the only things that have grown, while the people you love have grown distant. If this sounds familiar, I hope you'll stay and listen. It's important. When I was young, the world felt like it was made of numbers. The number of hours I worked, the figures on my paycheck, the stock prices in the morning paper. My father, he was a good man, but a worried one. He'd say, "Son, you build a strong house so the wind can't knock it down." For him, a strong house was made of money, and I believed him. I didn't question it, so I started building. My first job was in accounting. I was good with ledgers. I liked the order of it, the way every column had to balance. My wife, Eleanor, she was different. She saw life in colors, not columns. She'd say, "Let's take the kids to the lake this weekend." And I'd look at my paperwork and reply, "Just this one more project, honey. Then we'll have more than enough for a real vacation." That phrase, "just one more," became the story of my life. I thought I was being responsible. I thought I was providing. Each promotion, each successful investment felt like a victory. I saw it as growth. I was becoming more, I thought. I was building that strong house my father talked about. I bought a bigger home, a nicer car. I paid for my children's education in full. On paper, I was a success, a great success. My colleagues respected me. They'd clap me on the back at meetings. "He's got the golden touch," they'd say. But the cost, it wasn't sudden, it was a slow leak. It was the phone call from my son, excited about his first school play. I was in a meeting. "I can't, son. But tell me all about it later." He tried to, but the excitement had faded from his voice. It was Eleanor, holding 2 tickets to a concert she loved. I had to fly out for a business deal. "You go with a friend," I told her. "I'll make it up to you." She stopped asking after a while. These weren't big, dramatic betrayals. They were small choices, paper cuts. You don't notice 1 or even 10. But 1,000 of them, and you bleed out slowly without ever realizing you were wounded. My children grew up. They learned not to expect me at their games or recitals. My presence became a pleasant surprise, not a guarantee. Eleanor and we started living parallel lives in the same house. We had conversations about bills, about logistics, about the kids. But the other conversations, the ones about hopes and fears and how her day really was, they got quieter until they stopped. I remember my 50th birthday. It was a big party. I paid for the whole thing, the best food, a live band. Everyone was there, and I stood in the middle of it all, shaking hands, accepting congratulations, and I felt nothing. I felt like a stranger at my own celebration. I saw my wife laughing with her sister, and my kids huddled in a corner, talking amongst themselves. They were all in my orbit, but I wasn't at the center of their world. The money had built the party, but it hadn't built the connection. That night I went to bed feeling emptier than I had when I was a young man, with nothing in my pocket. The turning point wasn't a single event. It was more like the tide going out and realizing the entire landscape had changed. It was when Eleanor got sick. The doctors used long, complicated words. But all I heard was that my time with her was now a number 2, and it was a small one. I dropped everything. The meetings, the calls, the market watching, it all just stopped. For the first time in 40 years, I was just there. I sat with her, We didn't talk much at first. There was too much silence between us to break all at once. One afternoon she was looking through an old photo album. She pointed to a picture of our son, maybe 6 years old, holding up a crooked clay pot he'd made. He was beaming. I wasn't in the photo. She just smiled, a sad little smile, and said he was so proud of that. He waited by the door for you for 2 hours to show you. And then she turned the page. She didn't say it to hurt me. She was just remembering. But it felt like a physical blow. All the money I had made, all the success. I would have traded every last cent of it to be in that picture, to have been there, waiting behind the door with him. After she passed, the house was a museum of a life I'd paid for, but hadn't really lived. The furniture was expensive. The walls were covered in art, but it was all just stuff, echoes. The silence was the loudest thing I'd ever heard. My children called, of course. They were good kids. But our conversations were polite, a little distant. We'd run out of things to say because we hadn't built a lifetime of shared memories to draw from. I had given them my money, but I hadn't given them my time. I hadn't given them myself. And you can't retroactively deposit yourself into your children's childhoods. So here I am, 88. I live in the strong house my father told me to build. The wind doesn't get in, but it's lonely in here. The growth I chased, the numbers on a screen, they don't keep you warm at night. They don't hold your hand. They don't tell you stories. I'm telling you this not for sympathy. I'm telling you this because you might be where I was at 30 or 40 or 50. You might be telling yourself, just one more project, just one more year of grinding, then I'll relax. Then I'll be present, but then is a ghost. It never arrives. The time to be present is now. The time to build your life, your real life, is now. Personal growth isn't about climbing a ladder. It's about deepening roots. It's the conversations you have when you're tired. It's showing up when it's inconvenient. It's the small, unseen, unpaid moments that build a life of meaning. Don't confuse the scaffolding for the building. The money is just the scaffolding. The life is what you build inside it with people. A dear friend of mine put his life's wisdom into a series of books trying to capture these very lessons. If my story resonated with you, you might find some solace in his words. I've put a link in the description where you can find them. And please, share your own thoughts in the comments. I read them all. It helps me feel a little less alone in this big, quiet house. Thank you for listening.